Alrighty, folks, so as we all know, members of the legacy media hate President Trump. Hate him. And that's particularly true in the entertainment world, where they think that he is essentially an orange knockoff of Adolf Hitler. But it wasn't always that way. Today we're going to take a trip down memory lane when we remember how the entertainment world used to treat Donald Trump before they realized that he was, a Republican.
I have tremendous respect for the Japanese people. I mean, you can respect somebody that's beating the hell out of you, but they are beating the hell out of this country. Kuwait, they live like kings. The poorest person in Kuwait, they live like kings. And yet they're not paying. We make it possible for them to sell their oil. Why aren't they paying us 25% of what they're making? It's a joke.
This sounds like political presidential talk to me, and I know people have talked to you about whether or not you want to run. Would you ever?
Probably not, but I do get tired of seeing the country ripped off.
Why would you not?
I just don't think I really have the inclination to do it. I love what I'm doing. I really like it.
Also, it doesn't pay as well.
No, it doesn't. But, I just probably wouldn't do it, Oprah. I probably wouldn't, but I do get tired of seeing what's happening with this country. And if it got so bad, I would never want to rule it out totally.
Again, President Trump, as a young man, right? That's 1988. It looks like Barron there. He is on with Oprah Winfrey. Listen to Oprah Winfrey laughing at what he's saying, treating him very seriously. Not the vicious, racist, terrible Donald Trump. This is what most of these people thought of Donald Trump up until the point at which he actually ran and won as a Republican.
Oh my God!
By the way, totally consistent. He talks like this today about everything. Why is it that we should be paying everybody's bills and they're not paying us back?
We've been mistreated very badly by many countries, not just Canada and Mexico. We've been taken advantage of.
Like, Trump has thought about this consistently for decades. He's absolutely consistent. That's the other thing that leaps off the screen at you.
What would be the equivalent of reaching the White House for you?
Well, I think just doing what I'm doing, Charlie. I've had a really great streak over the last year.
How are you different than you were 3 or 4 years ago?
Well, I used to say, and in fact, I think I said in my first book that, and maybe this was foolish, but I really meant it, that someday I'd like to maybe lose everything for a period of time to see who's loyal and who's not loyal. And I found out a lot of things.
Did you find out who's loyal and not loyal?
I tell you what, and you can't guess it. You can't predict it. You think certain people would be loyal no matter what, and it turns out that they're not. And you just can't predict it. It's very difficult.
People do not change. Notice the level of respect that Charlie Rose is providing to Donald Trump. Talk about somebody who took a fall, Charlie Rose.
Charlie Rose, incredible.
But Trump talking about loyalty tests back in 1992. Donald Trump is a very consistent human.
Now, Mr. Trump, should I call you Mr. Trump?
You call me Donald.
Donald?
Absolutely.
Okay, I'll call you Donald. Donald, have you ever been fired?
I've never been fired.
No?
I've never been fired. I've never had the privilege. Have you folks been fired? Anybody out there? Huh? I see a beautiful woman up there. That's your mother, isn't it, huh?
Yeah, look at her.
Hello.
Yeah.
How are you?
She's available if you're interested. I'd like to offer her.
Ellen DeGeneres having a very nice tete-a-tete with then just Donald Trump, not President Trump, 2004. So yes, times change pretty radically, as it turns out. By the way, for Ellen too, it is amazing to see all of these entertainers years and years and years before they sort of fell off a cliff.
Damn, Daniel.
Between Charlie Rose and Ellen DeGeneres, a lot going on in these clips. This idea that Donald Trump was somehow like a giant threat to gays and lesbians across America was always ridiculous.
Are you a homosexual, Clay?
I am. Yes, Mr. Trump, I am.
No, is that true?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
And Trump comes from New York. He comes from the entertainment world of New York. The idea that he'd never known any gay and lesbian people, or that he was going to, come out strong in favor of traditional values with regard to sexual mores, like that was never going to be a thing, and they all knew it. They just decided to lie about it. There's more on this in a moment. First, let's talk about something that affects millions of Americans every single day: debt. It is really, really rough watching your hard-earned money go straight to paying off credit cards and loans, feeling like you're just treading water. I have tons of friends for whom this is true, so I want to tell you about PDS Debt. PDS Debt is different from other debt solutions. They actually take the time to understand your specific situation and create a personalized plan that works for you. Whether you're dealing with credit cards, personal loans, collections, or medical bills, they have options. What's really great about them is there is no minimum credit score required. PDS Debt strives to understand your specific scenario and can help provide alternative solutions to becoming debt-free. They'll help you save more and pay off your debt faster so you can finally start building that savings account. Getting started is simple. Go to pdsdebt.com/Shapiro, complete your free debt assessment, and see what options are available to you. everyday weight is costing you money. Get started with your free debt analysis in just 30 seconds at pdsdebt.com/Shapiro. Again, that's pdsdebt.com/Shapiro. Take back control today. Visit pdsdebt.com/Shapiro, pdsdebt.com/Shapiro.
Donald Trump is a billionaire, a real estate mogul, and a television star. But does he really want to add President of the United States to his resume? A lot of people would like him to. Please, let's find out, and please welcome my friend, Donald Trump. We're so happy to have you. Whenever you're on with us, we're very happy.
Well, we love it.
You know, you're a social liberal. Could you actually get the base to vote for you in the primary?
Well, every poll is saying that I'm the one that does the best. George Bush, he gave us Obama. I'm not a big fan of George Bush. I'm not a fan of Obama.
Let's not talk about who gave who,
I know,
baby,
Whoopi.
because
I don't think I'm going to get Whoopi's vote.
If you did, let me just say, if you did beat,
and she likes me. She even put me in a movie.
I was just going to say.
She put me in the movies, right? A long time ago. So how much did I charge? Nothing.
Like they say in the
It was a freebie.
Did you beat Obama?
I think if I run and win and get the nomination, I definitely think I could beat Obama.
Hilariously enough, I wrote a column this very year in 2011 saying that the best shot that Republicans had at beating Obama was Donald Trump. One of the things that's, again, very funny there is you see that Joy Behar is like totally fine with Donald Trump being there, and she's happy because she knows he's a social liberal.
But I don't think you're a real Republican.
I'm a real Republican.
I think
Because she knows that he's not like a super pro-lifer, religious Christian, and all the rest. The only person, points for consistency, Whoopi Goldberg hates that dude, and it's clear that she hates that dude in like 2011, and nothing has changed. But it's amazing because they were all treating him this way when he was openly thinking about running for president. So it's not even as though they were just treating him this way when he was doing the Green Acres routine with Megan Mullally on the Emmys or whatever it was.
Green Acres is the place to be.
There were a couple little pitchy things in there for me.
They were doing this routine when he was actively thinking about running for president. They just got pissed when he won.
Have you ever knowingly done business with what I like to call organized crime? Have they ever stopped by and
I've
said,
really tried to stay away from them as much as possible.
But have you ever had a case where a guy stopped by and said, Donald, we're going to handle the linens?
You got any gum?
You know, growing up in New York and doing business in New York, I would say there might have been one of those characters along the way. But generally speaking, I like to stay away from that group.
Yeah, well, has anybody ever said, be ashamed if anything happened to this revolving door?
Enjoying your shrimp?
Have you ever had anything?
I've sort of heard it a little bit before, but that's okay. I've been there.
Yeah, we'd hate to mess up your hair.
I don't know how anyone ever liked David Letterman. I mean, he's just so radically unfunny. And I understand, maybe you have to be a New Yorker to really love Letterman, but I was never, ever, ever a fan. Two, that dude ended up basically looking like Santa running around the wilderness.
I don't know where I am!
And it is very funny to look back in time and see how people aged up. It's been strange. It's been a wild trip.
Who do you like more, Bernie Sanders or Hillary Clinton?
Well, I actually think that Bernie would be easier to beat, even though he shows up a little bit better in the polls, and I may be wrong, but what I do like about Bernie is that when he loses, because the system is rigged against him, totally, just like it was rigged against me. I mean, the system is rigged. I think I came up with the word rigged because I was going around 3-4 months ago screaming, this system's rigged. Then I started winning by so much that it didn't matter whether or not it was rigged. It's sort of like a prize fighter. They go into the ring, and if they knock the guy out, it doesn't matter if the judge is affixed, right?
Yeah, right. If there's a brick in his glove, he's still on the ground.
Jimmy Kimmel. I can't believe he ever sat across from Hitler without the mustache. Just amazing stuff from Jimmy Kimmel. That is 2016. And that's how late the media were perfectly willing to hear out Donald Trump and treat him like a normal human being. And then he threatened them because he won. He started to win, and they freaked out. Again, Donald Trump, very consistent. He's always maintained that any system he loses is a rigged system. He said it in 2016, he said it again in 2020.
Rigged system, you've heard that word before.
Donald Trump, one of the more consistent humans on earth.
Donald, I want to ask you, because the next time
this one's famous, yeah.
You could be the president of the United States. I just wanted to know if there's something we could do that's just not presidential, really, or something that we can do now that we're just both civilians. Like,
Like what? This is. I'm not liking the sound of this. Go ahead.
Can I mess your hair up? I'm being gentle. I'm being gentle.
So, as long. The answer is yes, but the people in New Hampshire, where I'm going to be in about an hour from now, I hope they're going to understand. Okay?
You say yes?
Go ahead with my hairspray.
Jimmy Fallon, Donald Trump 2016. By the way, this was such a major controversy because by this point, the media had started to realize that Trump might win. And they started to freak out. And they were labeling him a racist and a Nazi and all the rest of this sort of stuff. And so the very humanizing gesture right there where Fallon ruffles Trump's hair, people lost their minds. It was kind of the beginning of the end of Jimmy Fallon. Fallon then had to spend the next several years trying to walk that back and pretend it had never happened.
When I saw that Trump insulted me on Twitter, I was going to tweet back immediately, but I thought I have more important things to do.
Instead of just embracing it and being like, yeah, he was running for president, and that's my shtick, I'm a funny man on late night TV. Instead, he tried to walk it back and become one of the wokies in late night. It never worked out for him, and he never really recovered. This was sort of the beginning of his downfall.
Before we begin, I just want to give a shout out to our show's #1 fan, the President of the United States.
It's gonna be a bloodbath. It's gonna be a bloodbath.
The radical left went after him because they humanized me. He said, I'd like to apologize for doing that.
I made a mistake. I'm sorry if I made anyone mad. And looking back, I would do it differently.
He lost his whole audience when he did that.
Alrighty, folks, so that's been a trip down memory lane. And now nature is healing because it turns out that aside from the late night hosts who are still crazy, a lot of the entertainment world is beginning to realize that maybe treating Donald Trump as though he's Hitler was a really dumb idea in the first place.
It's gonna be a bloodbath.